hope this month is a better success than last month and I actually managed to read the majority of my TBR. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you'd like this video, please like, comment and subscribe if you would like to. I'm going to be reading my August TBR with you guys. I'm pretty excited about this. I have 16 books to read. I don't know how that's gonna go. If I can read the majority, I will be really happy. Last month, I read half of my TBR, which isn't bad, but considering there was only 6 books, it's not the best. But this month should be better. I'm praying it's better. This book I'm picking up this month is Bitten by Jordan Stephanie Gray. This is an ARC I received. It's set to be released in October 2025. Pretty excited about this. It's been a hot minute since I picked up a werewolf fantasy romance. In fact, I think I have like 3 werewolf specific reads on my shelves, which is, if 16-year-old me could see me now, she would be very disappointed because she loved them on Wattpad. It was all I could consume and I don't read them anymore. But pretty excited about this. It sounds really good, so we'll see how it goes. I do think I could read the majority of this today, so I will give an update when I'm like 50% of the way through and let you know how this is going. Quick update, I'm 75 pages in. It's starting to get good. I was having a bit of an issue with the beginning. I wasn't really enjoying myself, but the plot is definitely starting to take place. We are in her journey now of, you know, her having been bitten, and it's a lot more interesting. There's a lot more going on, and yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a difficulty with the FMC in the beginning, but I'm giving it a solid go. I'm not going to DNF it just for that reason alone, but I'm happy I stuck with it because it is starting to get good. Whether it will keep going that way, I don't know. I don't really gravitate towards books that have FMCs this young. I mean, I'm 26, so, you know, I'm not 17 anymore, and I haven't been 17 in a very long time, but, you know, the plot will be worth it, I think. So far I'm thinking so. It's written really well. It's not too info dumpy. We're getting fed that information as the character is being fed that information, which I enjoy when it's done right. There are some books where I haven't enjoyed that, and it's because it's just not done in a way that keeps you hooked, but it's working so far. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Seems to be a very big mystery that is becoming evident as to, can't spoil it, but we'll see how it goes. I'm 194 pages into this. I feel bad because I was gifted this book. I feel like I need to give it a solid go, but I'm just having issues with the FMC. The plot of this book, the world of this book is so good, and it could be such a good book, but I'm having issues with her age. I'm having issues with her outlook to her situation. Like, I just think we are halfway, I would say, through this book, and I am still feeling like we are stuck in a position where the FMC isn't seeing her reality. She isn't seeing what she could be doing. She's not, like, I'm just waiting for that moment where everything clicks and she's like, okay, I need to be better, I need to do better, I need to train my heart out. And I keep waiting for that moment, and that every time I think that moment's happening, it's like we regress and she goes back to how she was when she first came into the castle, and it's just very frustrating. I can't get a solid feel of how I feel about this book. At the moment, I'm feeling like it's aiming to being a 3-star read or a 3.5-star read, because I'm seeing the relationships between characters and kind of trying to assess where they are and what they're up to and where they land in her world and what this mystery is. And we are starting to get another plot unfolding that seems to be very malevolent. Is that even the correct word? It's very dark. You know, there seems to be something happening within the castle that's separate to what she's going through and what she's trying to uncover. But yeah, I'm just having issues with this FMC. It's like I can't seem to click with her, and she just seems to frustrate me a lot. But I don't want a DNF. I definitely don't. I definitely want to find out what's happening. I do think I'm going to put this down for now. Well, for tonight anyway, because it's like midnight. I went to the gym yesterday and now my body is aching so bad. I haven't gone to the gym in a very long time. I've never felt comfortable going to the gym, so I just run. But my sister's a PT and she insists that I need to start going to the gym for strength training. And now my body just hurts. Anyway, I finished the first book on my August TBR, Bitten by Jordan Stephanie Gray. First and foremost, let me just preface this by saying this book was not for me. These are my opinions and this was just my experience while reading this book. And I do feel kind of guilty because I was gifted this arc, but I'm never not going to give an honest review. And my honest review is the FMC is hella frustrating. She is so frustrating. I have to say, the only thing that made this book worth reading was the ending, because I swear that when I got to the ending, the entire time I was just out loud saying, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? I could not believe the twist that this book took. It was unbelievable, completely unpredictable, did not see it coming. I had an inkling that things weren't right, but I could never have predicted the ending. But I also want to say that I didn't enjoy reading this. And it was predominantly to do with the FMC. It was just very repetitive with her behaviour, and I was just sick of reading it. The only thing that kept me reading was the mystery that was underlying this entire thing, and I just really wanted to know where it was going to go. I will say I skipped a lot of the FMC's inner thoughts and dialogue. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just sick of it. But I did immediately pick up, I got my boyfriend. Sometimes it's really hard to pick up my next book, especially when I have so many options. So I gave my boyfriend 2 options: Blood Mercy by Vela Roth or reread the entire Crowns of Nyaxia universe. Kind of hoping it was going to pick the Crowns of Nyaxia, which should have been an inkling that that's the book I should pick up next. But he picked Blood Mercy, and I kind of have to go because I did ask for his opinion. So I am picking up Blood Mercy finally. This has been on my TBR for so long. I'm just really overwhelmed with the number of books and how thick each book is. I don't really understand the series. Like, I don't know if books 1 and 2 follow one character and then books 3 and 4 follow, like, I don't know if it's like 2 duologies or if it's all one character. I don't understand it, but I don't want to spoil myself by reading the blurb of each book. But anyway, I did read 25 pages of Blood Mercy. It's really good so far. I did have to pull myself away because it was like midnight. But I'm really enjoying myself. Immediately I'm thinking yes, FMC, I'm gonna like her, because I like that she is mischievous and cunning, but you can also see that side of like vulnerability to her. So I'm really excited. She's about to meet the Immortals. She was cunning in making sure that she was going to be there for the rival of the Immortals, and the Immortals, I'm guessing, are vampires in this world, and they have a lifelong treaty with these Immortals, and every summit they're supposed to meet up again to re-establish the treaty. But previous generations of this monarchy have denied it. They've refused to meet up with the Immortals. So for generations, this treaty has not been replenished. But her father has finally decided to meet up with the Immortals. I don't know if there's like some sinister plot going on. I don't know his reasoning for finally doing it. But he's invited the Immortals to come to this summit to re-establish the treaty and make sure that they're not going to go to war, basically. That's as far as we know so far. She is determined to meet the Immortals. She hates her father. That's what I understand so far. She's the bastard daughter of the king and he doesn't treat her well. But I think she has a sinister plan coming. So I'm really excited. Sounds good so far. It's written really well. It's really easy to read. And I'm enjoying myself. It's only 25 pages in, so that may be too early to say. It's time for a reading update, and I have to say, I did not get that far through this book. I thought I'd be a lot further in, but I'm not. So I picked up Blood Mercy by Vela Roth yesterday. I read 23 pages, and then later on I was going to read for the night. It was supposed to be a couple hours of reading. I read for an hour. I only got 88 pages in. Do you know, I haven't read 45 pages in an hour since I was a kid. That was bad. I don't know what happened, but I found myself rereading. It was like my brain wasn't fully occupied by the book and it kept making me reread sentences because it wasn't fully grasping what I was reading, or it felt like it was going in through my eyes, out my ears. And it wasn't hitting my brain at all. So I'm stuck. I'm intrigued. But I have to say, for the first time, I think ever, I'm not loving the MMC. I am not loving being in his POV because he kind of gives me the ick, to be quite honest. I don't know. I know what it is, but I'm gonna sound like such a little for thinking it, but I don't like the MMC. I'm having a bit of an issue with his POV. I don't like being in his brain. I love the FMC. It's so weird. Usually if I'm ever going to read a book and not like something, it will be the FMC or the world building or the plot. It never is the MMC, but for the first time ever, it's the MMC that I'm not liking, and I'm loving the FMC. She's just such a strong, independent, cunning woman, and she still has her fears, and she's not scared to be vulnerable. But his POVs I just want to skip. I really want to pick up The Crowns of Nyaxia. I've been dying to do a reread for so long. Now it's finally the time, and I just received my copy of The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. Can we have a second for those spread edges, please? This is insane, and it's signed by the author. So now that it's here, I can finally reread the series in its entirety, and I've been wanting to do that. But I know that if I put this book down now, I don't think I'm going to pick it up again, and it's going to be that thing where it's going to be on my cart currently reading for like the entire month until I finally give up and DNF. But maybe it is that I'm just not in the mood of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read The Crowns of Nyaxia Universe. I'm going to annotate, highlight, and have so much fun and get to relive this world again. I'm so excited, especially for Six Scorched Roses and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. I can't wait. I'm going to do that, and then hopefully by the end of that reread, I will be in a better space to pick this up, or maybe I'll pick this up in the same time. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. It's time to pick up the next book on my TBR, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I am so freaking excited to get into this reread. But I'm also well aware of everything we go through while reading this duology. So I'm ready, but I'm also pretty cautious. I've already annotated this book, but I did fill up my annotation bookmark again, and I'll just annotate any bits that I feel like I missed. That's what the good thing about rereading is. There's always details that you missed the last time you read the book. So I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm going to dive in, and yeah, it's going to be so good to be back in this world. Okay, it's about time I gave an update on where I am with reading my TBR. It's the 11th of August, and I'm not that far into the TBR as I thought it was going to be. 16 books may have been a bit ambitious, let's be honest. I think it was a bit ambitious, but I am currently reading 3 books. Who thought that was a good idea? But I'm going to quickly update you with what's going on. So I'm reading The Seven and the Wings of Night. I'm like 11% the way through this, and I think the best way to do this would be to film a separate video reading the entire universe, because I think if I was to include all 16 books, if I managed to read all 16 books in this video, it will end up being like 2 hours long with all the updates and everything. So I think I'll do a separate video. That way I can take more time, give more depth. It will be a spoiler video, I think, but I will read the entire universe. I want to try and read the entire universe before I go to Paris in 2 weeks. I don't think that's entirely possible, but you never know. Maybe a bit impossible, but my boyfriend's going fishing on the weekend, and that gives me the perfect opportunity to read as much as possible. So I'll do a good dent. I also started A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McOwen. This was the book club pick for Ravenhead Readers book club. I am 54 pages in, and why am I kind of hooked this early on? I'm really intrigued. This is really interesting. It kind of gives me Blood Over Breakhaven vibes, but more fantasy romance, like way more fantasy romance. So obviously I'm not that far into it, but just from the beginning it just kind of made me reminisce of reading Blood Over Breakhaven, but like a fantasy romance edition. So I'm also reading this, but I haven't even picked this up yet, but Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This was my Fairy Loot book pick for July. July. I'm so excited to read this. I am so hyped for this. I think this is going to be so good. I'm really, I can't wait to dive in. But I think what I'll do is I'll alternate. I think I'm going to read a bit more of Serpent of the Wings of Night, and then I'm going to get started into Arcana Academy tonight. I have a jam-packed week. I really want to redo my nails tomorrow. I do my own nails. I've been doing them for a couple of years now. But I got some inspo pick off of Pinterest, and I think I'm going to do like Serpent of the Wings of Night vibey nails, and I'm really excited. I think it's perfect for reading the Crowns of Nyaxia universe finally. So I'm really excited to do that. So I'm planning on doing that. That will take me at least 2 hours to do, so not a whole lot of reading to get done tomorrow. I'll do my best. But yeah, that's where I am at with reading. We'll see. I'm really intrigued to see how many books I actually get done this month, because I'm going to Paris the last week of August. I'm planning on taking 3 books with me, because I think I could read 3 books solidly while I'm away, because I'm just visiting family, so I'm not doing like any touristy things. I've been there a million times. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. This TBR read is going so bad. It is the 15th of August and I feel like I'm not making a dent. I am onto Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. I literally started this today because I just finished A Forbidden Alchemy, which was not on my TBR. but was the book club pick. So I am 73 pages into Arcana Academy. I mean, having a prison escape for your first page, like, you're completely thrown into the deep end. I freaking love that. It hooked me. I genuinely thought I'd read a couple pages, go back to work, come back to this. I washed my dog, and then, you know, obviously washing my dog is he's very, very dirty, so I had to take a shower after that. But I ended up sitting, and every page I thought would be able to put down, I couldn't put it down. It was only when my dog was calling for me that I was able to put this down. Otherwise, I genuinely think I would have read half this book in one sitting, if not the whole thing. Elise knew how to catch your attention. She knew how to keep you reading for the get-go. This is definitely a book that shows you the world building and shows you the magic as you're reading, so you're discovering it as the characters going through it. So it's very unique in a way. We're not being told the entire story of the magic system all at once. We're slowly discovering that in bulks. I think we get a good amount of information. I definitely enjoy the world building. I don't think it's lacking in any way, and it's very easy to imagine. But yeah, I knew I was gonna love this, and I was hoping I was gonna love this, but I am very pleasantly surprised with how hooked I am from the get-go. I didn't know if that was gonna happen or if it was gonna take me some time. I know this is enemies, like true enemies to lovers, and I can definitely see that. Like, I was a bit confused at the beginning. Like, I was thinking, who is going to be the love interest? Because I wasn't following Elise Kova, so I didn't know who the love interest was meant to be. But I obviously know what he looks like from the art. But I was like, is that him or is that someone else? Like, I'm confused. Is that introduced to someone who's very similar in looks? So I was confused as who it was supposed to be. But at this point, I think it's very clear who it's meant to be. We had a very surprising, astonishing thing to happen, because that really hooked you, because you were like, please don't be this, please don't have that be how this happens, or this is my first time discovering her writing, and I'm really enjoying myself, and I can't wait to go back into it. But I'm also kind of dreading it, because this is true enemies to lovers, so we're gonna have to work for this, and I know she's not gonna have an easy go of things, especially from how the beginning started. But yeah, I feel like this is a book I'm going to be really excited about, and I think I'm going to be jabbering a lot as we read. So let's go read Arcana Academy together. 200 pages into Arcana Academy, and I'm really enjoying myself. I am so intrigued. I feel like every page has a question popping up. I don't feel like I fully understand what's happening, and I feel like Elise Kova has done that on purpose, that you're constantly kept on the tip of your toes, wondering if you fully understand the characters, the world, the magic, what the plot is, and where it's going. Because I feel like I am on a rock that's constantly wobbling, and I think I get it, and then I don't, and then I think I do, and then I don't. Let's see how far I can get into this book today, and hopefully I'll make another dent on my TBR, because it's the 17th of August and I feel like I have not made the dent that I thought I would. I have finished Arcana Academy. I don't know how I overly feel about this, to be quite honest. I enjoyed myself, and towards the end I was like, okay, this is so good, this is like so intriguing, this is so mysterious, like I'm loving the characters and I'm loving how this is keeping me guessing. But then I read the last 50 pages and the plot twist to me didn't feel overly spectacular. It didn't really make my jaw drop. It didn't make me feel like, oh my god, I can't believe this is how it ended. I just felt like it was for how mysterious the plot is and how mysterious the characters were, especially the MMC, and how everything just kept making you guess, and I kept wondering how this was all going to end and wrap up, and not wrap up, but what the cliffhanger was going to be and where the direction of this plot was going and how just everything was going to completely explode. Like, I genuinely thought the plot twist was going to be different to what it was. So I think for that reason was why it didn't overly shake me. It didn't overly like make my jaw drop, because I was like, oh, is that how it's going to drop? Like, everything that I built in my head felt so much more explosive than what it ended up being. I think that's probably my fault. I did feel really sad for the character, because I was like, I can't believe that this is, after everything, this is how the book ends. Like, I genuinely did not see that coming, which I think is probably good. But yeah, for all the plot twists and cliffhangers that I had in my head and how this was going to completely shake my world, it just ended up being meh. It didn't live up to the expectations I built in my head. So for that reason alone, it's not a 5-star. I think I'm going to stick with the 4-star rating, because I really did enjoy myself. I really did love how everything kept me guessing, and I genuinely didn't know where I stood with this world. I felt like I was on shaky grounds, and at any moment Elise Kova was going to tip my world upside down. And then the MMC could not get a straight read on him. I don't know where he stood. I don't know what his endgame was. I didn't know if he was being real or not, if he was keeping secrets, which he was. It was very clear that he was, but I didn't know what secrets he was keeping and how it was going to affect everything. I really enjoyed that aspect and that element of this book. I really, really liked the MMC in this, and I really liked the FMC in this. I love how witty and sarcastic and independent and strong, and not putting up with other people's bullshit, and how determined she was in doing things her way. Yeah, I really did enjoy myself. I don't think I'm making that come across. I really enjoyed myself. I think this is such a good book. Bit longer than it needed to be. I do think things could have been trimmed and elements could have been trimmed that did really build towards the story or the plot, and that just felt a bit like we were in middle moments that were just fillers. But other than that, yeah, solid 4 stars. I'm really, really excited for book 2. I cannot wait for it to be announced. I can't wait for its release, because I have to know where everything goes, and I really want to know that the MMC has her back. I really want to see if he's able to live up to my expectations of him, because I kind of feel like everyone keeps trying to say who he is, and they don't really know who he is, and he's gonna surprise everyone. So I'm really looking forward to that bit. But for the next book on my TBR that I'm going to be picking up, I'm gonna finally do it. I'm going to reread The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. I am going to stop adding this to monthly TBRs, and I'm just going to get it over with. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm doing it. I can't believe I'm doing it. This has been pushed to one TBR to the next, and now I can finally wipe it off. So yeah, I'll give an update when I'm somewhat through this of how it's going and whether it was worth the reread.
I'm just editing this video, and I realised that I lost footage of finally doing a final DNF of the Foxglove King. I decided to give up that series and just unhaul it, because I reread a review of that book when I first read it, and I just realised that's not going to change upon a reread. It's going to always be there, so there's no point giving it a second chance. It's a waste of my time. But I then picked up The Last Storm by J.D. Linton, and I'm so annoyed I don't know where that footage went, but enjoy my final review with no context to the story. But I'm here in Paris, so I don't even have my copy with me to tell you what it's about. But yeah, I'm sorry, this clip is missing, and I hope you still enjoy this video.
Okay, so not the update I was expecting, but I did finish The Last Storm by J.D. Linton, and so you know how I was really excited about this book, and you know how I thought it was gonna be like a 5-star read and it was gonna be amazing. I will admit this, I finished this in one sitting, which is why there's no other updates to me reading this. But I did not have a grand old time. I did not have 5-star feels. I actually ended up rating this 3 stars. I was incredibly
That was embarrassing. I was incredibly disappointed with this, and although, you know, I didn't DNF it, I again finished in one sitting, so to a certain degree it was good and I did enjoy it, but I had so many issues while reading this, and the first 20% I was really good. The first 20% was quite good. I was enjoying myself and I was like, okay, this is a good start, but I'm not having an overwhelming feeling about this. I don't know how I feel about this. And it started to become more and more apparent the further I read into this that it was not going to be a 5-star, and that there were serious issues with the writing of this story. Now, the story itself and what it could have been would have been phenomenal. It was such an intriguing story. It felt like it could have been a really good, solid plot line. But while I was reading this, you could just tell that it was rushed, that there was this excitement to get to the next plot point, to include this, to hit certain tropes. And while that's amazing, and you could really feel how excited the author was writing this story, things were very obviously missed and it just felt lacking. I felt no connection to the character, to the story, to the plot. While I could appreciate it was a really good, intriguing story, the development of it and the way it was written just didn't succeed in keeping you not keeping you grasped, but keeping you connected to the story every step of the way, for you feeling that there was a really good build. It just felt too rushed. There was too many lines that wanted to be hit and none of them were properly developed, properly detailed and properly explored. There was aspects of the story that I felt like should have been explored, could have been really integral to the story, and it just was completely missed. And I think that was one of the more obvious disappointments of this book. Like, the found family aspect, what could have been amazing. It could have been really, really interesting and really heartbreaking, but it just didn't hit. There was just such a disconnect between the characters, and you could feel that the relationship itself between the FMC and the MMC, and while it is fated and you know they're meant to be together, there were obvious issues that both of the characters had, and I don't feel like the time was dedicated into exploring those issues and them working through those issues and, you know, finally coming together. It just felt like this should have been a standalone. That's literally what it should have been. It should have just been a standalone. It should have just been a longer standalone, because if you're rushing too much to get to certain points of the story, it's not a series. Because if you're going to make a series, it should be drawn out. We should get time with the characters and have them explore their new reality. You know, she's a kidnapped not kidnapped princess. She's a kidnapped daughter of a general. She's supposed to be used for leverage, and you couldn't really see that. You couldn't really feel that, and I don't know, there were points inside the FMC's head that didn't make sense, and I just was like, aren't you thinking about this? Like, why are you concentrating on the wrong things, and why aren't we taking the time with your trauma and how you were... There was just, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I just obviously had issues with a lot of point of the stories. It wasn't just one specific thing, it was many, many things that added to the feeling that this story, honestly, in my honest opinion, I hate to say it, it needs to be rewritten. I think more time needs to be dedicated to this. It needs to be more developed. It needs to be more detailed. I think we need to get more time with certain things to really help us feel like it's meant to be, like it makes sense and this is inevitable. We're just, it felt two-dimensional. It felt surface level, and yeah, I couldn't connect to anything within the story. And while the next book is out, I don't know whether it's a duology or a series. I don't know. I don't particularly care. I really hate hating a book. I don't hate it because I finished it, but I'm not continuing it. I'm not going to spend time with a series that I just don't think is well written, in my opinion. Now, if you read this and you loved it, I'm sorry that I'm hating on it. For me, I just didn't get along with it, and I had so many issues come up while I was reading it. And to be honest, I feel like I read this because I was at my boyfriend's house and I had nothing else to read and he was watching football. That's pretty much the only reason I continued reading this, because I was like, I have nothing else to read, I have nothing else to do,
so I'm just going to keep going on this. But I do think I would have DNF'd. Yeah, thinking back on it, there was certain points where I was like, I was thinking of other things while reading this. It's so disappointing because I really wanted to love this. The story of what could have been is just, it's so annoying at knowing what could have been and how good this could have been. And I really truly feel like this could have been a 5-star. It is only the 23rd, but after reading that, I don't really want to read Rise of the Dawnbringer right now because I'm scared to start that. I think I'm just not gonna read that this month. I'm gonna give it some time before I pick that up because I had high hopes for this book, and I'm scared that I'm gonna have the same situation with that book. So I'm just gonna pick other books in the meantime. But I really hope you enjoyed this Read My August TBR with me. Please let me know if you want me to continue this, if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.